Alright, so we're talking about pre-humans today, people. Pre-humans, pre-hominid species, our evolutionary lineage, what mainstream science is about us, and how we're going to try to debunk that today. So I got to preface this with a little bit. 100% of the information you're going to see today is all based on the work of the late, great Lloyd Pye, and that's P-Y-E. He's a researcher, author, lecturer. So if you like this information that I've given you today, just go online, YouTube him. He has a bunch of great lectures. They're great. And another thing is, a lot of this information is really heavy. It's hard to digest. We're going to put our thinking caps on today, guys. So let's get it started. So Australopithecus afarensis comes around 3.9 million years ago in Ethiopia. There's a bunch of Australopithecine species that strive for about 2 million years in sub-Saharan Africa. What that is, I don't know if you guys have heard of the missing link. That's kind of what comes right before Australopithecine. So there's primates, there's chimpanzees, then there's the missing link, and then there's this species. And what it basically is just a bipedal primate. And then around 2.5 million years ago, Homo habilis and Homo erectus also started showing up in sub-Saharan Africa. And that's our genus, people. That's our genus, not our species necessarily, but getting closer to us. So our diagram down low, the first skull is a gorilla, the second one is Australopithecus afarensis, the third one is Homo erectus. In the bottom row, there's 3 Homo sapiens skulls. The fourth and fifth ones aren't anatomically correct yet, but the sixth one is. And here's where we start getting into the deep, heavy information. So Darwinism is the strong survives, the good traits, genes passed down. And this is where it doesn't make sense to me and to Lloyd Pye and a bunch of other researchers. So how do you go in 4 million years from skull 1 to skull 6? I know you're thinking 4 million years is a long time for something to happen. But in an evolutionary sense, not necessarily. If you think about it, sharks and alligators haven't changed in over 200 million years. They're apex predators, they got it right, and the gorilla's kind of the same way. So why did we change? And here's just 2 pictures of it, and what I liked about these pictures is humans try to put themselves into what they believe in. Australopithecus afarensis probably didn't look like this, and that's not to discredit the artist at all. But if you look at the brow ridge, the lower mandible, and the picture on the left, it doesn't match up to what a chimpanzee would look like. And in, I don't know, 10,000 years, it wouldn't have changed that much. The picture on the right, while closer in skull formation, the musculature is way up, and the spinal location. Primates have a tucked-in chin to keep lower to the ground. That's usually where they're staring at. If you look at any videos of a primate, and it just wouldn't have happened that quickly. So that brings us to us, and we're Homo sapiens sapiens, and that's not a misprint, it's our actual scientific name, and we showed up about 200,000 years ago in Ethiopia. And like I was saying before about the missing link and all these drastic changes, and that's what we're going to go into today, about how we went against Darwinism, and how Darwin himself even saw it in us, and it didn't make sense. So we're starting off with bones. Bones support, protect, and they provide movement, they help us move. So if you think about it, sub-Saharan Africa, 200,000 years ago, it's heavily dense forest, there's a lot of hills, a lot of cavernous areas. You're going to want to be strong, you're going to want to be able to survive the elements. And so here at the bottom, the bone on the left, that's a Neanderthal femur bone. That's our closest relative. That's double the size of our bone density. These are nickels and dimes, people day and night. The bone on the left can hold a whole lot more musculature. It's going to be a better creature. It's going to survive longer. In a time when we don't have tools, I'm going to want that extra muscle mass to get me through and help me find food and survive. So this brings us into musculature. Primates, on average, are 5 to 10 times stronger than us. Unfortunately, the chimpanzee on the right has a disease that causes him to lose his hair, but it's just to show the musculature. And the way Lloyd Pye describes it is as if you have Mike Tyson and a male chimpanzee, and you put them in a room, and they're fighting to the death, and they both know this. In 3 minutes, that chimpanzee's walking out. He might be missing an ear or 2. He's walking out. And that went over like everyone's head, and that's fine. Baby primates too, as soon as they're born, the first thing they can do is actually cling to their mother and hold on for extended periods of time. We can't do that. As infants, we're basically useless. Hair is reversed on us in primates, and that doesn't make sense either. Because like I said, sub-Saharan Africa, there's a lot of brush and not brushy areas. There's a lot of rocky outcrops, and I believe that's what they're trying to say we lived in during this time period. And to have hair on your back would kind of protect you more. Whereas we have hair mainly on our chest, and it doesn't actually make sense. Let me go back real quick. And then I also want to talk about how we have to manicure our hair and our nails. Primates don't have to do this. So it kind of seems like it's a genetic misinterpretation. Why would you want to have to continue to manicure yourself? Our hair can get matted if it gets dirty long enough. And if anyone's broken a nail, that hurts really bad. So I don't know why we need that. Doesn't add up. This is important, people. This is it. This is what I'm going to win the Nobel Prize in Science on. I'm telling you, in like 5 years, I'm going to be giving this lecture all over the world, and you're going to be like, oh my God, I knew that kid. Primates have 48 chromosomes. We have 46. From what we know so far with genetics is that you don't just lose chromosomes in the evolutionary pattern, but somehow we did. And what's important here is 2A and 2B. If anyone knows anything about biology, you might have heard of the term splicing. Microorganisms do it, and we actually do it in genetically modified organisms like our food. What it is it's using a primer or using something like a biological to cut out a piece of DNA and place it somewhere else to give it a certain trait. And that's what looks like happened here. There's my laser pointer. It looks like we just fused it into the second chromosome. That would explain how you end up losing a chromosome. How that happened, I can't say if it's extraterrestrial, if it's interventionist. I don't know personally, but once I do, that's what we're going to make millions on. And like I said, genetics. We lost the 2 chromosomes. Humans also have over 4,000 genetic diseases. Primates a much smaller amount. I'm not sure on the exact number. There's not a whole lot of research into it, but from what we know, it's in like the lower hundreds, which also doesn't make sense. Why would we shift? Like, why would Darwinism give us more genetic diseases? Personally, I believe it's a population control thing. It's almost as if humans were put here for a purpose, and then we were not meant to be anymore. And so what does all this mean? We aren't evolved from a primate lineage. What are we? Or what is then? Where did these Australopithecus go? Where did all these Homo species go? And that's Bigfoot, people. And if I had the time, if I had like an hour, I would tell you all about it, like the physiological, the geographical, the genetic information. If you don't believe in Bigfoot, I'm sorry to tell you now, but you're wrong. He's real, he's out there, he's just an intelligent creature that we haven't found yet. We didn't even find a panda until like the 1920s. Pandas are huge and stupid and lazy, and these things are smart. So they're out there, and that's kind of like what the whole like pie speech is about, our Bigfoot and where we come from, the human lineage. And once again, if you liked any of this information, go online, check them out. And then just to end is, I know I'm speaking mainly in suppositions and empirical stretches, and not a lot of this information is concrete. It's not like scientifically backed in any form, but maybe that's what we need to start doing. Maybe we need to start thinking outside of the box. Maybe we need to start asking questions, and if you believe in something, then go out and find the answer to it.